بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
All right, this is the first pseudo-intellectuals hangout. Unfortunately, a lot of people have dished us, which includes Ayesha and I think Kiran and Garan. Who else has dished us? Samra has dished us, but that's all right. We have Ali Javed here. We have Jan Dost Khoso, who we can now see, but doesn't have a voice.
I have a voice?
We need to get your voice back. There you go. Your voice is back. And Sobi in London. Jan Dost is in Dubai. Me and Ali in Karachi. Today's topic under discussion is why globally. It is not a nation problem, it's a global problem. We are intolerant to any opinion or view which is different from ours. And in fact, I'm going to start this discussion with the question, do you think this is more a problem in us, in Middle Easterns, or is it more a problem in the industrialized West? So since you're sitting in the industrialized West, I will let you open the discussion.
I think there are different levels of this problem. I think it's a larger problem in the East, and I think the characteristics of the problem are different in the East and in the West. In the West, there is more acceptability. We are more, I say we because I've mostly lived here, I think we're more tolerant of others. We have churches, so let's take the UK, let's take London. We have churches, synagogues, gurdwaras, everything. So religiously, we're very tolerant. However, I think there becomes a limit, and that's also because cultural differences. We sort of all like we like to hang out with similar people. We like commonality when we interact with people. And when somebody does something which is, at variance to us, we can usually have an issue, but I think it's a larger problem in the East.
It's a lot.
I think he's not tolerant. That's why he left.
I got thrown out. Can you believe that?
No.
So, Ali, do you agree with that?
We don't believe it.
Yeah. I didn't run away.
We are intolerant.
Okay, Ali, what do you say?
I actually totally agree with Sobia, but I feel because in our society, it's also the inflated egos which we have as Muslims or Pakistanis. We can't accept that the others have different opinions as ours. We can't accept the fact that why these certain people can't agree with us, and I completely agree with what she's saying.
Jandos, what do you say?
Well, I don't say that it is, more of Eastern side or Western side. If you ask me, this intolerance has been among humankind from the start till now. Yes, the level of the intolerance was different, and it's been different. But if you ask me, that is more rooted to the culture and the religion, rather than, the place that you live actually. So, in the West, I think about 500 years back, or in the Renaissance, they had this problem of intolerance. So they couldn't bear, somebody is coming and talking against their God or their beliefs. Okay, but they overcome it somehow. So this is my opinion on this.
Okay, I'm gonna, since you all have sort of agreed by duty and also by belief, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you guys. The West may be, tolerant per se, but deep down, I think they've got severe superiority complex, and as a result, I think they're more intolerant than the East. Alia mentioned Muslims or Pakistanis. I think our intolerance is more sort of an inferiority complex where we need to prove that we are better, and we just sort of get aggressive in that, but we're not actually intolerant, generally speaking, where we would come out and hurt people. Yes, a small group of people are doing that in our land, but that's not common. But in the West, when they're actually very intolerant of other societies, of other cultures, sure, they may accept them in their own land. You know, you said synagogues and churches and mosques and gurdwaras. That's fine. That's really, you know, very superficial. But deep down, the industrialized West is very intolerant of anything which does not suit their agenda. If it does not suit their larger purpose, they are rather more destructive than monsters. They're globally destructive. We may be destructive in our own small little holes, but we're globally destructive.
I would like to say something on that.
Please go ahead. I don't like the look on your face, but that's all right. Go ahead.
No, actually, I agree with what you're saying. The West has colonized the world. When you read about, you know, what the West has done to Africa, you know, it's been pillaged. Africa has actually stated, can we please now build ourselves without any interference? So I hear what you're saying, and the West has colonized, and they've been very ruthless. So we're going back now quite a long while, that they've been ruthless and they've been able to control a lot of the world. Now they have had to leave and exit the world in some state. However, they left it with a lot of influence. They've divided it in you know, various angles where we've still got issues. Now, just moving away from that, yes, the West has this problem. However, in time, the West is trying to. The West has a superiority complex is different to be intolerant. You know, I mean, I could or you could have a superiority complex because you are more educated or you consider yourself to be more intellectual. So you will feel I would question or challenge you that do you not feel superior to lots of people out there, you know, who sort of, I don't know, who side with the Taliban. So there is that complex. However, you know, the West they are the scientists, they have discovered everything, they built our aircraft, they're doing everything. I think they have a reason to be superior, number one. Going back to intolerance, I think that what the West has done is that, look, we're living in these countries where the constitution is constitution. So, in effect, they set their governance and their legislation where all of the people have equal rights. Moving to an Islamic country, moving to Pakistan, we are not only intolerant, one, we have religious intolerance. You know, in the West, it's fading away, but now it's come back, i.e. there's Islam intolerance. You know, people just Islam at the moment in the West, and women with hijabs are just literally hated. So there are those, but in Pakistan, the level of intolerance, you have a blasphemy law just for Muslims, you know, and it's being abused. You have a constitution which actually puts out that certain sectors cannot declare themselves such and such. It's ridiculous. I've never seen such levels of intolerance actually embedded into the legislative constitution. So I think in Pakistan.
Okay, Sabia, I did not say they do not deserve to be superior. Maybe they have great achievements in this century, so they have a right to feel superior. But when you say intolerance, I agree with the examples you've given, but you know what? Given the scale of media, given the kind of news that is highlighted, you're living in central London. Try getting out of the big cities. Try getting out of New York City, and try getting out of go to Mississippi, go to Louisiana, and you know, Lafayette, and go to all those places. Go to a lot of England and Scotland, Ireland, where you have smaller places. What Japan did with China, you know, it's not nice. What Korea is doing to each other is not nice. What China is doing to Taiwan is not nice. The intolerance in day-to-day life, frankly, Pakistanis are not intolerant today. The blasphemy cases, come on, how many people are involved in that? They are the people who abuse that law, if there is that weakness in that law, very frankly. I mean, also, that's another discussion I don't want to get into right now. A lot of people who abuse that law are really illiterate people, or people with misguided intention. The real blasphemy law is quite protective, and it doesn't enable you to do what we do on the street. It does not tell you catch people in the street and kill them. There is no such law in Pakistan. And we are all terrorists. On a day-to-day basis, I think Pakistanis are way more tolerant than anybody, in the industrialized world would be. Europe, yes. France, tolerant, yes. Belgium, tolerant, yes. Norwegians, tolerant, yes. But if you talk about America and Canada and the UK or Japan, they're very intolerant of anything which does not fit their needs.
Look, in the Daily Mail today, there was an article that Mr. Javed actually tweeted, and I just read it on Twitter. And it's an article on this cleric who is actually saying that we should use the social security money to wage jihad. It's actually quite hilarious, and I know they're sensational.
Have you heard the kind of things that come out of Atlanta? Have you heard the kind of things that come out of the Bible Belt? They're much more ridiculous. What does that mean? That doesn't make a nation intolerant or blasphemous.
May I interrupt?
Please, Chandos, go on.
Yes, I have a question here. If we are talking about intolerance, I think we are mixing it with religion or something. Can we define the context of the intolerance? Are we talking about the intolerance in the society or culture or in religion? Because I have lived in different parts of the world, okay, throughout my life. So what Faisal is saying, I really second with that. In terms of culture and society itself, Pakistanis are very tolerant, okay. I remember in year 2000, we came back from Iran to Pakistan. We just came back from our life over there, and I didn't know a word of Urdu. Okay, it took me a few years to learn, and still my Urdu has problems. But I never faced any kind of, abuse or bad words from people. They laugh at me, but they never show any kind of intolerance. Whereas I have lived in Iran, and if, for example, if you go to northern parts of Iran or some other countries, even if you go to Europe, if your lifestyle, if your culture, if your way of life is different, they will definitely show some kind of intolerance to you. But when we talk about the religion, I would say that Pakistanis are far less tolerant than other people. And the reason being is that I think what West has done is that they have separated your being religious or your belief from society or from state or government. But what we are doing in Middle East is that we are trying to mix, or we are going to give some extra values to some kind of religious behavior. So, for example, if tomorrow I start drinking on the drinking liquor on the roads in Pakistan, I'm sure that they will kill me. But if you go and do something against their religion in Europe, they will not do they will not do anything on that. However, if you you want to be embedded in their culture, if your color is different, if your accent is different, if, for example, if you go to their parties and you don't drink, I'm sure that you have some kind of real problems over there, problems of adaptation.
Jandos, let me again, I'm going to have to defend here. If you drank on the streets of Pakistan, trust me, no one's going to say anything. You'd be surprised the number of people who drink on the streets or who drink generally. You'd be surprised the number of liquor. I'm not defending it. I think it's good, but I'm saying it's a fact. Also, for religious intolerance, let me ask all of you a question. Do you know anyone who knows anyone who is religiously intolerant in Pakistan, who kills people because they don't agree with their religious faith, other than Twitter trolls and people you hear about in the news? Do any of you know anyone who knows anyone who knows anyone? It's open.
I myself.
You know someone.
I myself have faced so many problems or so many discussions. Okay, they have not come and hit or kill me.
Discussions and problems. We are having a discussion here. This is not a problem. But name me one person who says, I'm going to go and kill Shias tomorrow morning.
No, they're killing it. Right now, look at it.
Question. Do you know anyone who knows anyone who does that?
I don't know about religiously, but I
But
know
it's
people.
happening. Am I right?
That's
Regardless
not
of
my
wisdom.
question. My question is, do you know any? What I'm trying
No,
to, what I'm trying to say is that this intolerance is not actually real. It has been, the perception has been created. Yes, so go on.
People have allowed to this perception to be created.
Yeah, guess which people? People like you and me who have remained silent. So, yeah.
So I just want to say, no, I think that's a really valid point. I think you have a really good point, because we don't know in the social circles. Maybe it's the social circles you, I, all of us are part of, that we don't know anybody I don't know anybody who is religiously intolerant in Pakistan. However, I know one person who's a working lady, is a fabulous lady all her life, etc. And about 2 years ago, she started on the internet. She became very religious. She joined some sort of a group, I don't know, to understand the Quran. And the last time I met her a year ago, when I was in Pakistan, actually in August, she said one thing to me, and this is a girl who was like, who would wear everything, anything, jeans, etc. in Pakistan. Not that clothes actually define who you are, but they do. I'm sorry, I'll sort of contradict myself. I think they do to a level, but anyway. So she said to me one thing. She said to me that, Sophia, do you know, and this is an incredibly educated family. The whole family is very educated. She said to me, Sophia, do you know anyone who's non-Muslim will actually go to hell? So I said to her, and this is, she's gone to whichever lungs, she's gone there, she's been to all these universities, has a master's, in like 3 masters. So I said to her that, listen, hold on, I actually have to challenge you there, because I do not think that any non-Muslim, if they are good people, honest people, that they will by default, because they did not say a kalma, they will go to hell. I said, I'm quite shocked that you were saying that to me. And she said to me, no, Sylvia, I have been enlightened, and I understand now, the Quran, and I'm telling you that it's really sad, but all these poor people, they can do whatever they want to. If they're not Muslims, poor things, they're all going to burn in hell. So that is one example where I think her train of thought has really, I don't know if that's said somewhere in the Quran, challenge that really disturbed me.
So this is the beauty of misconceptions created by media and misconceptions created by think tanks in the world, where you have actually you've actually told me the story. Do you realize that the very fundamental, okay, hang on, Islam tells you, even if at the last moment you accept God, and forgiveness you'll be given, and you will get sawab for all your good deeds, and even the Muslims will have to pay for their bad deeds, and yes, eventually the ummah will be forgiven and go to heaven. But you realize the very fundamental of Christianity says, if you do not accept Jesus as your Savior, you're going to hell.
It's 10 o'clock.
No, I didn't know that.
Exactly my point. You know what? They will never tell you that. That is the very core of Christianity. If you do not accept Jesus as your Savior, that He died on the cross for your sins, you're going to hell.
Okay, so let me tell you on that. That's a very good point. So I think the West is more sophisticated in their intolerance. They don't share it or throw it in your face openly.
They're sophisticated in their propaganda.
No, I agree. Okay, just another thing that Mr. Jodos, I didn't catch your name in Dubai.
Jandos.
Jandos, yeah. So sorry. So just another thing that Jandos, when you said about religion and what are you talking about? Now look, it's really weird, but we're talking about intolerance. We've gone on to religion. The one I think Pakistanis are actually, or Muslims are obsessed with the religion. because nobody else talks about religion the way we do. And even when I go to events here, at dinners, like we always start off with La ilaha illallah, Allah ka shukr, etc. Like the prayers. When I go to like English dinners, I sort of go to many dinners there, which are sort of business related. Nobody says, "Hail Mary, Jesus Christ." We start off there isn't that religion embedded in everything we do in the UK from a work-wise and just normal thing. Number two, why I bring up religion is when you talk about intolerance, we sort of deviate from religion. Why is that? Because it's the causality of tolerance. What are the causal factors of tolerance? And I think one is religion. I think the other one, you rightly said, also that when you were in Pakistan, people accepted the fact you couldn't speak the language. I think another factor is social tolerance. When I say social, it can be your income bracket, the way you speak, your education, your intellectualism, how people perceive you. So I think there are basic differences in the underlying causal factors in tolerance. In the United Kingdom, and I hear what you said as well, Bess, that I have been to America, I have been to Disney World twice, and basically there I felt like I'd gone to a village. I actually felt that the villages in Pakistan and the people are more advanced, acceptable, modern than the people I saw in Florida. They were so backward because these were Americans who come from these localized cities, and it was insane. They were so, forget tolerance, they were just so basic, it shocked me. So I do know what you're saying. I mean, even Italy, when you go to little pockets, it's really, they are not that tolerant of strangers. So I agree with you there. But I think the causal factors of tolerance are many and varied. And even in the UK, it's a very stratified society. People differentiate, first thing, the way you speak. If you have a Cockney accent, you're sort of labeled. If you don't, you're labeled. You go to a private school, you're labeled. So there's a lot of social intolerance amongst people here. And obviously for strangers who don't speak English with their accent, yes, it's prevalent there as well.
So, Sophia, the religious tolerance that you're talking about also, I will have to say this much, is really on the face of it, deep down, depending on which church you go to, there is intolerance of each other's views. The Presbyterians and the Protestants and the Catholics, and they all, don't like each other, and they're quite intolerant of each other's views.
But listen, on that, 38% of the United Kingdom is now atheist or agnostic. So if you look at stats, or I would say maybe, even if they're not 38 are not atheists, but that is one stat I read. Let's say they're agnostic, but they're just not into, they are not as strong believers as people are in Pakistan. Their churches, so in an area where I am, there were many churches have been converted into flats because nobody goes. One church is being converted into a drama school. You see it all the time. Churches are being reconverted, used. The church attending population here is minuscule. So,
what does that mean?
It's changing. This is that 38% of this country do not attend church.
Yeah, but the agnostics are unaccepting to the churchgoers. The churchgoers don't accept the agnostics. So it doesn't matter which bracket you put them in, they're still not tolerating each other. Hang on, Alia, you've been very quiet. What do you have to say?
I have another question. I mean, okay, when you're talking about...
Let me hop through Alia, then I'll come to you. Alia?
And then I want to hear what Jandos has to say.
Okay, Jandos, go on.
No, my question was that, I mean, what is your definition of intolerance? No, I mean, not in terms of definition. My question is that, how do I have to behave?
My personal definition of intolerance, and I'll let the other ladies give theirs, is anybody who judges me for anything. If I'm not misbehaving with you, if I'm not dancing naked in your home, if I'm not intruding in your personal space, if I'm not defying norms of the society, I can do whatever the hell I like. You know what to tell me who I am, what I do. Yes, if I do something that defies the norms of the society, then the society or anyone in the society has a right to tell me to behave in a certain way. Example, I'm very critical of the kind of content we get on our TV. I'm personally a liberal person, and I have made a huge mistake of setting the camera up where I have, and I'm not going to say why because if someone hasn't noticed yet, I don't want to point it out. I'm very tolerant of a lot of things in life. Stop looking, Sophia.
I mean, my question was that.
But I'm not tolerant of women dancing scantily dressed on my television. I'm okay if they do that in Germany because the German society is okay. That's the norm of the society. I've spent some time in the U.S. in the 80s, and people think Americans are very forward or very liberal. No, that's probably one of the most conservative countries I've ever been to. And suddenly, I went to Germany in 1989 when I'm 25 years old, and I see nude women on the billboards. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then my first exposure to a South African newspaper was a front page picture of a woman topless coming out of a swimming pool. And I'm like, oh my God. And I later on realized the South African society accepts that, and the German society accepts that. So Pakistani society, the norm is not for you to scantily dress and speak vulgarly, be suggestive, cross-dress to do it. That's not the norm of the society, so don't do it here. So if you do not hurt the norm of the society or intrude in a personal space, it's nobody's business. That's my definition.
Now, another question. I mean, for example, let's say I'm intolerant, okay? How do you want me to behave? I mean, do you define intolerance by hitting, killing, beating people, or even criticizing or abusing you from behavior? That is the definition I want to know.
Mind your own business.
Now, that is the problem. Now, the thing is that if tomorrow, okay, if tomorrow I go, I mean, in circle of my friends who are Pakistanis, tomorrow I say that, okay, for example, I left Islam and I'm atheist now. So what do you think? What will be the reaction from them?
Who cares?
No, that's the question. Because if you want to say who cares, you can live in any society. But the question or the problem is that if I tell the same thing, okay, to
you ask me what their reaction will be? They may stop being friends with you. They may ostracize you.
Exactly. That's my question, because I mean, I define this as intolerance.
Yeah, so they're intolerant. What's wrong with that?
No, for me, it's sign of intolerance. Because
it is. So stop hanging out with them.
Yes, so this is not acceptable to me. Reason being is that you imagine, for example, you are born in my home and I was born in your home. What will happen then?
Nandos, the thing is, I'm not saying these people aren't intolerant. They are intolerant. But this kind of intolerance is everywhere in the world. You go to Atlanta and you say you are from a certain church. The other church will ostracize you. Your friends will leave you. They won't have dinner with you. They aren't. What I'm saying is, it's everywhere. The label.
No, Faisal, I have to challenge you there.
Please do.
Okay, I have to challenge you because I hear what you're saying, Nandos, because there is the way people retaliate to intolerance, and I know that you asked us the question that, do we know anybody who is extremist in our social circles? No, but the reaction that we see in the Eastern world or in Pakistan to intolerance, religious intolerance, is that they start this mayhem, this rampage. In the West, like you say, whatever it is, the intolerance is more subtle, the reaction, because there are, it's quite complex actually when you think about it. Because they're institutes, law, we know that if I am totally intolerant, I can't bear what this person is doing, I can't bear his religion, I am constrained by the law, the judicial system here, as to how I can let this person know, how I can communicate to them. I'm constrained. My norms here are very constrained. I want to challenge you, Faisal, on another thing as well. you said to me that you were just not to me, you were mentioning about, let's not take this personally. You said to us about clothes and how, you accept nudity or whatever in the world, but you have an issue with it in Pakistan. Now, listen, in Victorian times, the UK, they had long skirts. Nobody showed legs, nobody showed arms. People were covered. They have moved on. You are talking culture, not static. Culture is dynamic. We need to culture will grows and develops, and we need to grow and develop this culture. You're going to try and fight growth, development, dynamism, and you want to maintain something you had 30 years ago. But you know what? We're pretty much doing that in Pakistan. We're very good at it. We still like to bury our women in Balochistan if we can. If they don't agree, we like to burn a few women here and there, do all of these things, because that was culture. Culture has to change. Women scantily dress in Pakistan. The most one can do is wear jeans and a top. And there's no miniskirt on in Pakistan because it's just not acceptable. People stare at you in this really horrible manner. So the thing is, because you've got to change your mindset. You've got to let culture develop. If people want to be scantily dressed, even off programs, let it move on. Let it develop. It shouldn't bother you.
Okay. Unfortunately, Arya, just 1 second. Let me just deal with this, if you don't mind. I fully agree with evolution and development of cultures, but the majority controls the morality of a society. The Victorian times, you've said very correctly, but the whole society gradually changed, accepted, and then what they accepted became the norm. If you really think, I can count the number of women who can do this, but 20 women who can do this on TV represent 180 million people. They're sadly mistaken. Out of 180 million people, there are about 30 million people like me who say, I don't do it, I don't care what you do, just don't do it in my face. But the other 120 or 130 odd million people are absolutely offended by it. And they determine the morality of the society. When they evolve, then these 20 women can dance naked on poles. Until the 120 million people decide, even I cannot dress a certain way because it's their society. And let me give you an example of that. You cannot walk around a certain way in Dubai, but you can walk a certain way in Bahrain because that society has accepted it. Dubai has not accepted it. You can walk a certain way on a nudist beach, but you can't walk that way on a regular beach. So the majority in any situation, in a city, in a locality, determine the morality of that area. Alia, your turn.
I was going to say the same thing. And plus, Sophia, I want to know, I feel that whatever you're saying about Pakistani society or Western society, I feel you're talking about the things which are shown on media. And I think that's what your opinions are based on. Can I ask, was the last time you stayed in Pakistan?
Yes, I'm in Pakistan about 3 times a year. I'm there for 3 to 4 weeks at a pace. My parents live there. I'm in Pakistan all the time. I was part of a political party in Pakistan, which I was supporting, and now I've actually recently resigned from that. So I'm very much involved in everything. I'm involved in every single. I have a house there, so I'm sort of living there, and then I know I can only wear jeans there and nothing more.
See how powerful PTI is? I took its name and threw me out.
This is apolitical. We're not taking names.
Well, I'm taking names.
I feel that, when we talk about intolerance, I think, two different extremes. Why does intolerance have to be about religion only? When I feel that Pakistan and Pakistanis or Muslims are tolerant, I wasn't talking about religion only. I feel it comes from small values in us. Coming from when Faisal asked us if we know somebody who knows somebody who's actually intolerant about religion. Maybe not. I don't. But I know lots of people who are very intolerant about religion, not regions, and ethics. Whether you're Sindhi or Punjabi, and they're like really intolerant. If you want to marry somebody, you cannot marry a girl from Punjab. If you are, all these things. I think the intolerance comes from there. I know somebody, even in fact, in my family, in fact, that's the other day we were talking about at the dinner, we won't keep servants if they're Bengalis and things like that. And they're really strong about it. No, we can't have these things. I feel the intolerance comes from there, and the religion is, another extreme to it.
Alia, wasn't that the generation before us? Isn't our generation much more tolerant ethnically?
No, I really don't think so, because I know people from my generation or even younger than me. I know like a lot of people, so-called educated people, they would have a certain group of friends. Oh, they're from Lahore, they're too loud. We can't deal with them. We can't deal with
that. I agree with. That's just cultural characteristics.
Yeah, but that is intolerance too, right?
No. I think Maimans are cheats, but I'm married to one.
Yeah, okay, but see, you're not intolerant. But
she's screaming for the other room, I can hear it.
Best of luck.
No, Faisal, but the thing is that
my house is like United Nations. I have a Momani who's from Calcutta, one is Sindhi, one is Bihari, one is from UP. My sister-in-law is from Hyderabad. My wife is a Maiman. So we've got the whole man in my house.
Yes, but
wow, you must be very tolerant.
Hey, we chill. We don't really care.
no, but the thing is that Faisal, you're exactly my thing is that, I mean, okay, exceptions are there, but I mean, as you rightly said, that okay, for example, talking about our region, I'm not talking about Pakistan only. In region is that, I mean, if you want to marry or some relation with some other families based on your religion, based on your origin, I mean, you will have some problems. I mean, we had some such problems. My friends had some such problems. So you cannot deny this fact.
I think, Jandos, the better word for that would be biases. I would not say it's intolerance. I mean, these are biases, I think.
No, I think it's intolerant, right? When you're very biased to such an extent, you're intolerant. But Faisal, yes. I'm still a bit uncomfortable with all the things you've said, by the way. So, but I don't want to really continue that debate. It's fine.
No, let's get closure about it. Come on, go ahead. About what?
No, because I'm still quite uncomfortable about, just basic things like you say our culture and morality. And the morality bit and what we're used to and not. The thing is, it's a chicken and egg situation.
Can I answer that very quickly for you, Sophie, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. If we don't sort of let our culture and dynamism build and develop, then we're never going to sort of be moving in one direction or the other. We're always going to be static. And I just want to go back to, let's say, in London, when I was part of this political party, and here I met many Pakistanis from Yorkshire, all across the UK, because I wanted to, I had to meet them just for politics. And these are Pakistanis, which literally are living the way they are in Pakistan. They have not moved on in any way, quite a few of them. When I went to these events, obviously I was always ethnically dressed, wearing ethnic clothes, because actually it would have been not acceptable to them for me not to be wearing ethnic clothes in the United Kingdom, which is absolutely fine. But I'm just saying, even though that's a very minor point, it stems everywhere. It's really embedded, because we are stuck to our culture. And anyway, the people who went abroad are in a time warp. They're in a time warp. When they came here, actually Pakistan has progressed to the people that I see here who were in this time warp when they left. So that's a different issue. But I think that it's a chicken and egg situation. and I struggle for Pakistan to sort of become a bit more tolerant and move on in many angles. You know, if you're just going to try and retain things which are really difficult.
Promise me you won't get angry and I'll answer those questions for you.
I can't promise, but no, I'll still dial in and everything.
No, you have to promise not to get upset.
Okay, I won't get upset.
Okay. As for people out of Pakistan living in a time warp, I fully agree. But that's highly unfortunate. I must say this on record and make people hate me. But the fact is, with due respect and humble apologies, people who leave their home. God, I'm going to get into trouble. People hate me for this one. There's certain kind of people who get out. You know, your premium quality does not leave. There's certain, like Hong Kong. You know, Hong Kong is called filth. Do you know why it's called filth? Failed in London, try Hong Kong.
No, I hear what you're saying, and actually I've met some wonderful people as well.
I haven't repeated that. I'm not saying they're bad people. I said there's a certain kind of people who do not have that confidence, and they can't let go of their values, but for whatever reason, bad life, bad environment, they have to make, shift their homes. I feel sorry for them, but yes, they want to hold on to values. So, let's ignore that. But the fact that you said slowly evolving our culture, that's what I wanted to be sure that you won't take offense. Because you know what? I think it's time you guys also evolve. I think you should have porn on prime time. Slowly, then, there was time in the Victorian times, no one showed leg. Now you're showing leg and a lot of other meat. I think it's time already that we should start watching porn at 8 o'clock. Germany has the porn at 11 o'clock. So why can't you have porn at 9 o'clock?
No.
Why not? Because it has not yet reached your acceptability and morality. So we can't inject something before you're ready. First you get ready, then you see it. So in Pakistan, 130 million people are not ready.
Yes.
So you have to wait for them to get ready before you take a model on a lawn billboard 40 feet by 20 feet on Shara Faisal lying down in an orgasmic pose. That is not acceptable, and I'm sorry, I haven't seen such billboards even in South Africa.
Is that what happened? I didn't know about it.
I've got pictures on Twitter.
Okay, I'll see.
The kind of orgasmic, vulgar dances that we see on television today, I'm sorry, I can bet you America would rate them.
I agree with you, because even here we're always complaining, not here, everywhere, if there's sort of these advertising campaigns, some of them are quite obscene, they're vulgar. There's a difference between cultural art and vulgarity, and I agree with you. I think vulgarity and have that pushed on people's faces, like porn being pushed on people's faces, is not acceptable.
Until you're ready for it, you know what? When you get ready. So if you're not ready to watch porn yet, we're not ready to watch scantily dressed chickies yet.
Fine.
We're still friends?
I don't mind.
See, okay, let me conclude this with my 2 bits, and then you guys can say yours. In Dubai, I still remember a little thing which says, remember, you're coming to an Islamic country. Dress a certain way. Yes, we're liberal, you can find prostitutes, you can drink, you can do whatever, but we are an Islamic country, behave a certain way. You go to Turkey, very modern, very liberal, but you have to be dressed a certain way. You go to different states in the US, there are topless bars, and there are states which do not allow you to be completely topless, and I know for a fact they end up using band-aids just to conform to the law. Or what was that, Grammys last week, where they actually issued a dress code? Which awards were those?
Yes.
So, when you try to bend the society retaliates. What's unfortunately happening in Pakistan is, under a plan, too much is being shoved into our face to make us liberal, in the process of making us libertine. The libertinity is the problem where you're actually offending a society. I travel the world, I'm very liberal, I can see anything, doesn't bother me. I don't want to see it with mom, I'm sorry. I really don't want to see it at 8 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock in the morning when I'm having breakfast or dinner with my parents, and suddenly there's a on the screen. That bothers me.
That's as much as his tolerance can bear.
Man, what time you are eating or drinking? I'm thirsty or hungry.
Sorry, we were making jokes at your expense the minute you left. We really apologize.
I have to stop saying the P word.
Okay, I have a question.
So,
okay, I hope it's okay because I have more questions than answers. So, my question is that, okay, we talked about intolerance. We just conclude that, okay, it is everywhere, okay, and we say that, okay, it has different shapes from religion to society. My question is that, is it a bad thing or not? Is it a bad thing to be intolerant?
It depends. If you're not imposing your intolerance to others, it's okay. If you can keep it to yourself, that's fine.
No, because my thing is that, see, I mean, basis of this intolerance has created different nations, states, and because of that, people are divided and living in in different colonies. Okay, so I think for me, if you are having certain kind of rules, okay, and you're ready to follow that, and I mean you're strict to those rules, I mean it's okay.
so we are gone.
No, she is there.
Oh yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. Is it a bad thing? I think intolerance.
Sorry, just let me continue. Let me just say the last point. What I have seen is that we are having a serious problem. Our problem is not about intolerance. Our problem is that we want to conclude each and every topic on a good or bad note, and preferably good note on our side. Okay, so I mean, intolerance is there. Let it be there. We are in different colonies. If we see that, okay, for example, the society that I'm living is not tolerant to my beliefs or to my behavior, I can change. I can migrate. I can go to other places. I think right now we are in age of globalization. We can't, I mean, go to different places. We can live in different areas. So I don't see any problem in this.
I agree with you. I think intolerance is not a problem as long as when you're not living in a social structure with other people, other religious sort of groups, and you make it difficult for others to survive, then it becomes a problem. But otherwise, you're absolutely right. Take your choice. You know, if you can't live in the West, go and move to the East. Go and move to Saudi Arabia if you want to be totally covered. Which Faisal might be an idea. I'm kidding. Joke. Joking.
My opinion is quite straight. What you do in your bedroom, what you do in the confines of your home, not my problem. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Joke. That was a joke. Sorry, underhanded.
I mean, in a bedroom or in your home, that's okay. But I mean, I'm going to a broader level in society. I mean,
no, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. Let me finish. But
sure.
If you offend the norms of the society, then it is my duty to be intolerant, I believe. Example, if you're smoking in a place where there are children, it is my duty to stop you. If you're doing something which is an offense against the society, then it is my duty to stop you and to be opinionated against you and to be intolerant. But what you do in your personal life, I don't care. As long as you're not hurting society, for me, it's your problem, your heaven, your hell, your sister, your mom, your papa, your daddy. If I care.
Yes. That was my point. I mean, we were trying to, get a conclusion that, okay, for example, East is better or East is better. At the end of the day, we are having certain society rules in our side, and they are having different culture on their side. So let it be like that. Whoever wants to be there, so let be there.
And I agree. Sorry.
Since I have control over this hangout, after you all are done and gone, I will have the last word.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Right. That's fine. No, I totally agree with totally intolerant. Tell them not to. And so when you have rules and people break them, if somebody breaks a line, in the UK, if you do not queue randomly, then it's just I cannot tolerate that. I will tell people to stand in a queue. So yes, when there are rules and people don't follow them, it's okay. You have to tell them. But then you're that's not intolerance. That's following rules. and social norms. So that's different. What I think intolerance becomes wrong when you are offensive to somebody else because they have certain belief or they talk in a way. If it's in a derogatory manner or you harm somebody else, I think that intolerance has negative connotations. But has it got positive connotations? I'm trying to think. For me, I can't think of positive connotations at the moment.
Well, like I said, intolerance towards anything bad which is offensive to you or the society, that is the positive aspect of intolerance. I'm intolerant to anybody misbehaving, bad-mouthing, using foul language towards me or anyone. If people think I block if you offend me, if you're my friend or if you're my threat and somebody says something bad about you, I'll block you there as well.
Yeah. One more thing that I want to, have a focus on is that we are having two things. One thing is the basis or the bottom of the iceberg. We have to know and we have to understand that for each society or for each even family, what and why are the intolerances, okay? And based on that, we can act accordingly. So if we understand that why this is happening, why this is a norm here, why this is being followed in this society, I believe that, by default or automatically, our intolerance will be released a bit.
Well, frankly, at my age, I don't really care why I'm intolerant to intolerance, and I don't really care why or what. It's your problem. I don't have the time. I'm sorry.
No, because what happens that if somebody else thinks about the same thing about you, so you will what have the same problem.
Please block me.
It's not about
me. I do not tag anyone. I'm using Twitter as an example. I say what I want to say in my space. I don't tag anyone. I don't interfere in other people's conversations. I say my piece. You don't like me, unfollow me. I'd be happy for you. That's why I don't care how many people follow me. I'm only concerned with how many people I can talk to.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Can I just make a point, please? Quick point.
Yeah, well, go on.
Okay. I just want my quick point is that I just want to come back to religious intolerance, Pakistan, and all these sectarian issues that we hear of, and it must be, there's some element of population where it's obviously a problem. And one of my solutions, and I think we need to always be thinking of solutions to problems, and one of my solutions in Pakistan is that they must make religious education mandatory at all school levels, where children learn about all religions. They learn about Druidism, monotheism and polytheism and Hindus, and there's this whole concept of there's nobody who is or kafir, so you calculate a religion's tolerance or acceptability of people who are different to you. And I think that's what we need to do, in especially societies like Pakistan, where it's quite an insular society. Not many of our bottom, with population are really able to go out, travel out, see a lot of different people. We need to just make them aware that there's a big world out there, and just embed tolerance of those people, even though they might not come up against them, and maybe that will help sectarian issues that we're having. That's just one thought.
Well,
really.
Yeah, maybe, but the state can't do it, unfortunately. Typically speaking, and I'm going to get again in trouble as before, Desis have, and when I say Desi, I'm immediately including India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the whole Indian race. We have no lust for knowledge, and when you have no lust for knowledge, you will never stop and look at other religions or forget religions. We will not even look at other parts of history. We will not understand what else was there and what else could be there. So you have to have that lust for knowledge, and unfortunately we do not have that. We just don't have that quest. We have no desire to learn things.
No, but that's something you need to have. That's something that has to be embedded in our schooling system. That's the only way these people here have been able to move forward. Teaching religions, all religions in a school, that doesn't seem to be a major challenge.
So it can't happen, you see now.
It is a big challenge.
It can't happen.
Okay, I'm working on it.
No, you can't.
I will.
If you promise not to get angry again, can I answer that question as well? Why can't you?
Yes.
God, I'm really saying all this stuff on record. I usually say this in private conversation. There was a time in the 70s, 80s, when if you went to a restaurant, you found intellectuals, you found nice people, sophisticated people having dinner. Then everyone left. And then we would come across, every December, you would have nice people around the streets who would now be abroad and were visiting in December. Now, the kind of people that occupy the space will not accept that change that you're proposing. The only way this could happen, if at all, it's a complete fantasy, is where maybe few thousand families of intellectual, educated, people who live abroad, people who travel the world, people of the world would return home. By funding changes of government, which expats love to do, by running political movements out of Pakistan to gather votes or raise money by selling $500 plates for Pervez Musharraf or Imran Khan, that is not going to bring change. That's the worst thing you could do, actually. Thinking that expats are sending in 4x, as you know, it's hogwash. It's not going to change anything. You're saying that to your parents that you've left behind and feel sorry about. You're not doing the nation a favor. If you really want to change, all you need is maybe 5,000 families. Okay, it is now obvious. This is now obvious. If I say the I word or the P word, I get thrown out.
What is the P word?
PTI. And the I word is Imran Khan. Nope, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. It's gonna go.
And there's a button here. Delete.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All I have to PTI. Boom.
We won't troll you.
This is actually hilarious.
Yes, Faisal, is it something with your technology? Do we have a power cut over that?
I think the trolls have infected my system. Okay, ladies and gents, can we have concluding notes so we can exit? Our friend Mr. Mohammed Sumair has not turned his camera on, not turned his mic on, so he's trolling or voyeuring, and we do not like that, so I'm going to eject him. He's gone. Eject, yes. Gone. So concluding notes, people. Alia, your concluding notes.
Whatever you said, we are intolerant. It will require years of mental conditioning and programming to change this intolerance. Until it's there, we need to deal with it.
We are not intolerant. I did not say that.
Well, I am saying that we are intolerant.
Okay. Jadost, your notes, sir?
My note is that intolerance is not bad, okay, if you understand why it's happening, okay, and it is there all over the world, and since years back till now. So I mean, there is no road for that. So you cannot. I mean, it's better to stop digging into the impossible hole. So let's focus on being tolerant to other ideas and societies, beliefs, cultures.
All right, Serbia.
I agree. I think that we have to be tolerant to other humans on this earth, because that's what we're doing. We're sharing this earth with lots of other different people, and I think in Pakistan we really need to embed something for our normal population of 180 million in the schooling from beginning. Like I say, religious tolerance, the fact that the world exists, there are many different cults, clans, there are people who believe in a rainbow god, other gods, everybody's god. It's not just your god. I think religious acceptability and the differences is really important. And I hope that you can get 5,000 families, Faisal, to work in doing something about it, because otherwise we have no hope.
I want 5,000 families to come back and make this their home forever, which is not going to happen. So, you know,
I will be coming back.
Do you have a second nationality?
Yes.
Are you going to give it up?
I shall think about it. It's a very deep question.
Why?
I'm not going to make any decisions right now on record.
You want to keep your exit plan.
I didn't tell you that. You just concluded.
Well, I know. Because you will not give it up. My own brother lives in the US since 1983, and he and I have had many on TV fights about it, and I blame him for the problems of this country. If he had been here today, he'd be in politics. He was a fantastic statesman. He would have been way up there somewhere, and he could have made a huge difference. But instead, he's chosen to raise arms against Pakistan for America.
Okay, but can I just tell you, Faisal, I don't think it's not a dual nationality issue unless I want to actually run for politics. But I can come over and I can live there. I can and help towards the culture, the economy, set something up there. I could do that. It would be just as well and just as good.
You missed my point. I did not say that it's legal or constitutional. Constitutionally, it's your right to have whatever nationalities. But I believe what I said was you want your exit plan. As long as you have your exit plan, you'll never fix this place. A lot of people get, even Tahir Qadri says, oh, I have a second nationality because it's very difficult to get visas. You know what? If we stopped running away from the problem, we'd solve the problem. The reason why the upper class has not solved the visa problem is because they say, oh, to hell with it. Let me just get another nationality. Let me just send
Can I just say something on record? I do not support Tahir al-Qadri. I think he's a maverick, and I hope nobody else does.
Oh, you chickened out so quickly.
I do not like Tahir al-Qadri, and I cannot tolerate people who support him. I'm actually quite intolerant in that sense. I confess, you're right, Judges. Intolerance can be good.
See, there you go.
Totally intolerant to anybody supporting him.
I kind of like it.
If anybody likes him right now, I'm going to start an issue, a discussion.
I kind of like him. He's cute.
Okay, that's another problem.
What? That he's cute?
His hat is just wrong. Nobody should be allowed to wear that hat.
Why not? Now you've been completely Westernly intolerant. Why not? It says hat.
I don't like it. That's my opinion.
You can say you don't like it, but you can't say I don't tolerate it. Don't judge him.
I don't tolerate it. I switch him off.
That's fine, but you can't judge him for it.
I'm not judging him for his hat. I'm judging him for his views, and I'm totally intolerant towards him. Let's move on. Especially, you're going to wind this up.
So you're judging him for his choice of the hat?
No, his views, Faisal. His views. He's a maverick.
I think he's a cool guy. He's just being unfair.
Okay. Fine. I respect your views. I do not agree with them.
And he also huggy kissing with PTI leaders.
And okay,
Gotcha.
You do know I've resigned from PTI, but I'm so glad PTI did not go with them. I'm so glad. Thank you.
Can I say something? Yet.
If you disconnect.
They haven't gone with them yet.
Okay, we'll wait and see.
They probably won't. But they're working on. You know what? It's getting political. Not worth it. Okay.
I love politics, though. Let's have one session one day on politics.
Sounds good. I think we conclude this until we can schedule a next one. If we do not have something midweek, then we'll do it next Sunday, inshallah, God willing. Oh God, I have to make a comment, Sonia. Earlier you said all these Pakistani meetings start with the kalma and the thank God and all that. Oh, all good Christians say their grace before having food. And what's wrong with thanking God and saying, blessing each other? Oh, for God's sake, that was such a Western, intolerant.
No, I agree with you actually. And many times I've said grace before having my meal.
Oh, but that's perfectly all right, huh?
Good point. No, there's no harm in it at all. And as long as atheists and agnostics are not offended, which they're not, they're pretty tolerant people, I think.
Who cares if they're offended? I'm not telling, no one's forcing them to do it.
Agreed.
As long as you don't force another person to do what you want to do, everything's fine.
I like that. That's a very good point.
And on that note, thank you very much, ladies and gent. And until next time.
Yeah.
Bye. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.